go, just like, I was getting ready to be like, what am I going to do if I'm all by myself again? And boom, just like that, Jamie Coker looks a lot like John Hebert today.
I'm early for once.
Oh, my goodness. Mustafa, good to see you as always, my friend.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, there's Jamie.
Look
at that. We got a Foursquare right off the bat. How's everybody doing today?
We have a special guest.
Oh, yeah, my little dog, George.
Hello, little dog, George. Introduce yourself to the world.
Ready for his close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Oh, there you go. There's love. There's some love. How's that timing? You just got a full screen kiss there, just in time. Eric is on the trigger today. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you're watching this everywhere in the world. This is MBartist Alley Live. I am your host, Stephen Ohola, and I am surrounded by talent. So let's introduce them. We're going to start this way. Mustafa Musa, Marvel and DC inker, because it's only a 2-hour show, an hour and a half show now, and we don't have enough time to go through everything. How you doing, sir?
Doing good.
And then below him, in the corner square, we've got John Hebert, Marvel artist of Punisher and X-Men. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
We start off a little perky at the beginning of the show. Were you just going to surprise us, or were you just getting tired of the mid-show drop-ins?
I just figured I'd shake it up a little, keep you on your toes. You know, it's actually warm here, so I crawled out of bed at a decent hour for once.
And then on top of me, below me, is yeah, I know that's just sorry, Jamie. Jamie Coker, villain extraordinaire. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
So you wouldn't leave it, and look at that, and just like that, it's like she knew I was getting into the Jedi Knight, Francine Delgado.
Hello.
How you doing, Francine?
Good. My audio is kind of crappy today. Can I say crappy?
Crappy's okay.
I just say it.
Poopy.
Oh, yeah, my audio is poopy today.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are the artists, the creators of MBartist. And we are here to chat all things art, comics, pop culture, whatever you want. But what drives the show is you, the viewer. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And hey, and Chris says, "Do you miss me?" And does that count as a question? At the demonstration, Chris, we will count that as a question. And it's that easy, folks. You ask a question. And John Holbrook takes John Hebert for the block.
Excellent.
One day we'll have to get everybody on, and we'll do a Hollywood Square run. Okay, so
John, I wanted to do a cover that you already did. I don't know if Steven told you, but
I heard.
Oh my
God! I heard. So it was John Hebert for the block.
To catch everybody up, for UltraCon, we're doing a Golden Age tribute exclusive, and it's going to be Wiz Comics, and we're just about picking our books, and Francine and Mustafa are tag teaming a cover, and Francine was like, I was looking at all the Wiz, and I want this one. I was like, that's funny you should say that, because here's what John sent me a month ago.
Oh, shoot.
I already took a whiz.
His whiz was done a long time ago.
I was late taking my whiz.
So Francine has to go find a new whiz to do. All right, guys. So we're looking for questions from you. Each question you ask, it gets you a ticket into the draw. And what do you win? Well, it's funny you ask. We have featured art prints by some of these artists. So let's walk through them real quick. Look at those fabulous set of prizes, but you don't have to win. You could just buy them if you want. So let's kick it off. We got Bob McLeod's New Mutants. We've got Hellbringer by Chad Harden. We've got Spider-Gwen, Miss America, and Nova tag team here by the fabulous Francine Delgado. Francine, you want to tell us about this one?
Yes, that is part of a 3 cover series I was working on, non-official in a non-official capacity. But basically, was the idea that I have of working with these younger hero teams, and I wanted to mission a cover of Ghost Spider or Spider-Man, and I know they are not official a team, but I just thought who I would like her to team up with, and I thought she would do a great team with Miss America because she kick ass, and also Nova, Sam Nova, like the younger version of the Nova Corps kid. And I thought like, okay, I'm gonna work with these 2 characters. I want the focus to be on Gwen, and then the other 2 to be as a supporter characters. And yeah, just put them in a random city because city and Spider-Man people is the way to go.
Once again, so this was, I believe, number 3 of a trilogy that you did, and once again, I love the cityscape background. It's just awesome.
Did you do the colors?
I did the colors as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the colors are really great.
Thank you. I'm really suck at colors, but I'm gonna take it.
No, it's great. Yeah.
So we've got that one. It's Spider-Gwen. That's available as our featured art print. The next one is, Jamie. This is series 3 villain, and it is
Mum-Ra. Yes. The story behind this one. Well, dude, I'm a 80s kid, so Thundercats was my jam, especially the opening credits. Once the show started, maybe not so much, but the opening credits were awesome, and it was ahead of its time. And I think anyone that was, conscious around that time would agree that, the opening credits were the best part of that show, and especially the scene for me where Mum-Ra like transforms from his decrepit mummy self to the big self and goes crazy. I mean, man, that I was so like just taken with that. I remember like being at the playground and actually acting that out once. It goes so well.
The gym teacher called the police, right?
I could just picture little Jamie on top of the creative just doing the Hulk Hogan Mum-Ra thing.
Oh man, yeah. It didn't go so well for me, but I mean, I just love the character, so had to do it.
And did you hear that they've actually started pre-production of this for a live action version at Warner Brothers?
Yeah, you told me about it, and then I read something about it somewhere too. I was like, oh man.
The director of Kong and Godzilla is attached to it.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah,
Oh
and they
God.
showed his picture, and I was like, he doesn't look old enough to even remember Thundercats. So let's hope. All right, move on to the next one. We've got Higatus Figatus by James C. Mulligan. Bizarro. I love the title for this one. This one is Superman, Bizarro Happy, Bizarro Sad by James. Yeah.
I love that Rubenstein signed his name backwards.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Only Rubenstein would think to do that, eh?
That's a talent, hidden talent.
All right, John, this one's yours. What's the story on this one?
You wanted me to do it. You suggested that I do something with that cover, and I did, and it was one I always liked, but again, one that I thought could have used a little tweaking and updating, and I went with it, and there it is, and the colorist did a beautiful job, and it looks like a movie poster.
Well, the reason why I picked this one was you said you wanted to do something from the Claremont run, early burn, and when you look through it, this one always jumps out at me just because it has that movie poster quality to it.
Oh yeah, or a toy box. It looks like a toy box.
Yeah, and Sanju knocked it out of the park. Love Sanju. All right, let's go to the next one. We've got Mustafa. You're surprised that people pick this one, eh?
Yeah, a little bit, to be honest. Yeah. There was a show that what's her name? Brie Larson was going to be at, And so we had like a week or so, and me and my buddy Ali Garza we're gonna be there, and like, oh, we should do something for Captain Marvel. And we did a helmet version and a helmetless version, and neither of them sold very well at all, actually. So, you know, hey, 2 years later, it's nice to see people, you know, like it.
No, I really like. So, guys, just to let everybody know, not only is there this version, but there's also an unmasked version that you can get on MustafaInc.com. I prefer this one. I just for whatever reason,
more too.
the color dynamic and the quality of it's got more flare and zip than the unmasked was. I don't know why. It just appeals to me. Maybe it's the mask, the mystery. And last but not least, Beauty and the Beast. There you go. No Franklin this week, guys. All right, guys. So there's 3 ways to get our prints. Number 1, you can ask the question and you can win it at the end of the show. Number 2, you could just say claim whichever one you want, and the lovely Jamie, who I hope is watching, it will take care of you. And number 3, if you go to MBartist.com and put in free shipping with any one of these, whether it's fine art, platinum, or canvas, you can fill your boots. So there's nothing finer than free shipping. So those are what we've got, guys. And while we were yakking about the featured prints, we got to catch up here. We got some questions. Asked, what is the worst comic turned into a movie in your opinion? Now, I know we talked about this last week, but I don't think Luke was here. So let's go around, and I'm sure there's more than one you guys can think of. John.
I've heard that Man-Thing movie they made is absolutely abominable, but I haven't seen it.
They made a Man-Thing movie?
Yeah. It was. I think it was Canadian made, by the way. Really low budget, never released. Horrible. Just the stills I've seen. It's something I found online one night, and it's almost something I'd like to see just for the camp value. But other than that, I'd have to say probably I don't know, Superman 3. There have been so many that are
Superman
awful.
3 had that fight scene though with Clark Kent and Superman in the junkyard.
Yeah,
that part was great. The rest of it was awful.
Well, it's like saying, you know, the Batman Forever. You know, the opening sequence with the Statue of Liberty is wonderful until that, and then from that point it just spirals.
Well, that Ang Lee Hulk movie was terrible, but it had that one scene when it's Hulk versus like the U.S. government. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is awful, but that was awesome.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Mustafa.
Let's see. If I say Captain Marvel, is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
So we're not sponsored by Marvel.
Everybody's gonna say, you know, like the Daredevil movie with like Ben Affleck, right? He actually wasn't that bad, but the movie wasn't great. You know,
right?
So like, you know, there's like some obvious, you know, answers, but like Captain Marvel doesn't get enough credit for such a disappointing movie. Like every Marvel movie has been a standard of quality, and then that movie comes out. I tried rewatching it. I liked it less the second time.
Do you think there's any reason for that? Do you think because
she does not come across as a leader in any way. She just comes across as just happy to be there. You know, I don't know. It's just me, I guess.
I had the same feeling with her turn in Endgame. It's just like it just felt like it was going through the motions.
I can't imagine the audience was like, "Oh, good, it's her." It's like, "Oh, it's her." Great.
Yeah. Well, the only reason they got excited when she went through the spaceship is just because of the timing of it all, right? It was just more built up, the emotional build up of the sequence. It wasn't because it was her. It could have been anybody.
Marvel didn't have a Superman character, so they got one. And then like she's so powerful that like they don't really need anybody else. It's just her. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't have her for the best part of the movie, just at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like, well, there's other planets. I got to be busy. You're like, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, no, and you think like if you have a time machine, can't you just wait for the freaking lady cut to come in and then just go to the time that you need to go?
Yeah.
No, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Francine.
know. What?
Francine.
Oh yeah. Well, talking about third parts that are bad movies, I really hate the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire #3 when the guy starts dancing and it's emo Spider-Man. I
the
hate
dance though.
so much.
It's an
So
awful
much.
movie.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Here's my
Yeah.
reenactment.
Oh my god, the stupid dancing. And I was,
Bad haircut.
Yeah, the
everything
chair, the
about
thing
that
with
one
the
was
chair.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the little floppy
Jamie,
hair.
can you top Spider-Man 3?
Oh
And
my
Evil
god,
Peter.
Or bottom it.
dude, there is too much to say about that movie. I mean, Venom was a joke. It's like Diet Venom, not the real thing.
Yeah.
It's Venom.
What is
There's
this
no
guy?
power
Venom
though.
Light.
Wish version of Venom.
Oh man,
Venom free.
all I can say is that movie for sure. Whatever notion Topher Grace had, you know what? I'm gonna leave that '70s show and become a movie star. That movie said, nope, not gonna happen.
America
Dream
disagrees.
another dream, buddy.
It's time to go back to TV, friend.
Oh,
No, my pick easily. Any of the Fantastic Four movies, they're all bad. Galactus is not a cloud.
That
I mean-
first one wasn't that bad. The one from 2005?
no. That's a very bad franchise.
You mean the
Like,
Corman one?
how
Yeah,
they
The
Yeah,
one
oh
with
my gosh,
the one with
that
Captain
was
America as Flash,
first.
as Human Torch. Yeah.
Oh,
It Doctor Doom was terrible, but the characters
Oh, yeah,
I
that
thought
was
were
a
pretty good.
horrible Doom.
I was getting excited for the Silver Surfer, but then like, okay.
Basically, they said, "Oh, let's go to Nip Tuck. Grab that guy."
Yeah, yeah. That guy as Doctor Doom was terrible.
Okay, Mr.
that
Pretty
guy.
Face, we're gonna put a mask on you, and they didn't even keep the mask on him.
That's the problem in so many of those movies. Because the star has to have his face on the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, when I realized, even Avengers, even the posters, they don't have the masks on because they've got to get their mug out there.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh.
Iron Man never has his mask on, does he? Yeah.
Why didn't I think on that topic? Why didn't I just say Judge Dredd for the win?
Oh yeah, I thought about him. I thought about that.
I am the law.
Oh,
And he never had the mask on.
Well, that's
I'm
when
the law.
Favreau and the Mandalorian just said, "You know what? Screw you. All helmet all the time."
Yeah.
Oh, I hope it's not spoiler alert because it happened a long time ago. But then I don't know how to feel when he took off his mask. I was like, no, or I am happy or sad. So I don't know how you guys felt about it.
Well, it worked in the context of the story, right? Because it showed that he evolved because he was all about this is the way. And he got such an attachment to the kid, he was willing to sacrifice his belief system
But
to
that means that he don't believe what he used to believe anymore, right? It's like he changed because that's what I got from it. It's like, it's like he changed now, right?
all of season 2 was all about taking away his belief structure brick by brick.
Yeah.
Like when he found out that there was Mandalorians that take their helmet off, like, oh, this isn't a problem. We're going to use it as a cereal bowl next. It just completely,
Platoon,
it was like mind blown for him. He was just like, what?
which, by the way, I wanted to do that in that drawing that you wouldn't let me do. I wanted to make the Boba Fett helmet a spittoon, but you wouldn't let me do it. Or the action figure idea. Steve actually said no.
I didn't say no to the spittoon. I said Han Solo would be too cool to be ripping the head off of a toy.
A Lando toy. He was justified.
Cool. He's too cool for that. Anyways, my pick would have been I'm with you, Jamie, on the FF, but I would have gone with the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. I don't know if you saw that one at all, but
Never saw it.
Keep it that way.
It's bad. Like literally.
I saw still images. The still images didn't look great at all.
no.
I saw it for free and still wanted my money back.
The thing was basically a Nerf suit.
Yeah.
And whenever they did the Reed Richards, it would be a stretched arm on a 2x4 going like
And what about the emblems on their chest? They looked like a kid cut them out with pinking scissors. Remember that? Pinking shirt. Oh my God.
Like you remember how like you would get the cheap sweater, then you run it through the laundry and it would be all frayed.
Yep.
If you ever want to just see the worst movie, check that one out. It's definitely it's just worth it just to make those comments like Mystery Science Theater.
Anybody check out the old like Doctor Strange from the 70s?
Oh, I saw that when it was new, and that was vile.
Yeah.
I like that. Doesn't matter how many times we get this question, we always answer with different answers.
Silver Surfer was great in it, actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like look who they got to play him now.
Yeah.
Like not Morpheus, the actor.
Doug Jones, great guy.
Doug Jones.
And actually, I thought the Fantastic Car was cool. It's just that the rest of the movie sucked.
Yeah.
It was just nice seeing it on screen, you know.
Mr. Joe Rubenstein has joined us. Good afternoon, Mr. Rubenstein. How are you today?
Fine. I'm just in time to talk about Herbie the Robot, apparently. So,
No, you got a question asked from Luke. What is the worst comic turned movie, in your opinion?
meaning the movie was bad or the comic was bad first?
I think you could go either way. On
Either way.
Both.
Well, you know, the Batman movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger really sucked. Matter of fact, I was in a screening of it, a private screening for DC and Warner Brothers people, and about 3/4 of the way through, Paul Kupperberg let it be known. He said, "This movie sucks."
That's Paul.
Apparently, he could not resist the moment. So.
But Clooney was not the problem. I just want to say that.
The
Clooney would have
nipples
been
on the
fine.
outfit were distracting.
Yeah.
Because what?
Well,
was
yeah,
it?
but
Like Nurse Bats, I didn't get it. So.
yeah.
I want to know, why did he feel the need that Batman, his alias, required a visa?
I think he got that idea from the 60s when the show was on. They had a Batman credit card they used to sell. And I really think that's where the idea came from.
And I'm pretty much sure Visa also give them money to be shown in the movie.
I just want them to bring back the Thanos mobile. Okay.
Oh, the helicopter?
The helicopter and the Spidey cycle or something. I don't know. And you know, the irony of it is, apparently Galactus is broke because he couldn't afford to buy anything for his heralds to sit down. It's like,
Well, he was so broke when he did his first appearance, he had no pants.
yeah, you know, it was a gladiator thing going. Do you like gladiator movies, Steve?
You ever hang around the gym?
Do you think it's wrong to use Vapor Rub? Anyway.
Oh dear.
Anyway, Luke, that was a great question. We're going to catch up here, and we're going to give you a ticket.
Wait.
Brandon's in the house. He's here. I'm going to catch up here. Yasin Arfoy. I hope I said that right, Yasin. I apologize if I didn't. Do you use a color? Do you use a color too much? Because it's your favorite color.
Oh.
So when you do the colors on your pieces, do you guys ever lean too much to the color because it's your favorite color? Joe?
No, because the color has to be appropriate for the moment. Though my favorite color combination is kind of a cyan blue with a rhododendron. I'm gonna forget what it's called, but it's a lovely sort of a pink purple, and the combination together I always find really attractive. So, but no, not if you're doing, you know, strawberry shortcake or something.
When you do that combination, what do you find the mood? What do you think is the mood you're always trying to convey when you use that combination?
Somber. It's like, imagine if it were like nighttime and there was a soft blue light on somebody, but there was like a red flickering light off to the distance and it was reflecting in their face. So it's not a happy sunny time, but it also can be sexy because you start with the blue mood and then add a little bit of heat to it, literally. So.
Cool. Mustafa, I'm going to segue over to you because we used those two colors for your background on your Rogue Gambit Series 1 piece. Do you recall?
Yeah. So it's funny. You talk about favorite colors. I got a buddy of mine, Jose Fernandez. He's really talented, and his favorite color is purple, and he figures out a way to get purple in everything. And usually it works. And when it doesn't, I'm like, hey, buddy, it's a little too purple on this one, you know? But like, even like Spider-Man, you don't think of Spider-Man as having purple, but it'll have like purple highlights in the blue, you know? And I'm like, man, he figured out a way, you know?
Is this the Jose Fernandez who painted Dracula, or a different?
No, it's a guy out of Houston. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
So let's drop down to you, Francine, because it's interesting that Mustafa brings up highlights in Spider-Man, because we had that same experience in terms of that color scheme going across your upcoming Star Wars trilogy piece.
Yeah. To answer the question, I don't think I have a favorite color that I use in all my paints because I like it. The same way that Joe were saying, every time that I'm thinking of terms of color to a piece, I'm thinking of what colors serve to this piece. So it doesn't matter if I like, I don't know, aqua. If I'm painting something that doesn't needs to look like, I don't know, like in a desert or something, I just gonna throw aqua just because I like it. But and for what you were saying about the purple with the piece that from the Star Wars piece, that's a specific thing that it's a piece that I was working for the Star Wars for the following next month, I think, and it's like a three posters that make one, and it starts like in a dark purple setting, and it ends like in a pink sunset kind of. So like the character in the middle, Steven suggests like to have a bit of combination of the pink in one side and the purple on the other side. Is that what you were talking about, Steven?
Yeah, well, it was like Mustafa was talking about how his buddy there always finds the way to have purple in it in the reflections on Spider-Man. The background that you did was using Joe's two favorite colors in terms of traveling across the three pieces. And we talked about trying to, because the Mandalorian's outfit is basically metal, it would reflect the environmental colors, right?
Oh yeah, and when I paint him before. I made the mistake of painting the character before having the BG defined. And once I add the BG, of course the character doesn't look like he was there because if he's metallic, he didn't reflect any of the colors that was there. That was mostly purple. So yeah, I have to do the same thing that the body of Mustafa did. That start adding purple shades in the blacks and stuff.
Jamie, do you have a color you lean on too much?
Color I lean onto? No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I don't feel like I'm very good with colors. I kind of just, I feel strong with like composition, like coming up with concepts more than anything, and then drawing secondly. But colors for me is like way down there. I kind of rely on other people to tell me. Like my wife is like always, you know, pushing that ahead. So I definitely rely on her a lot. But every now and again, I'll be like, get a notion in my head, like, you know what, maybe I should try this, and then I'll go with something. But no, I don't think I gravitate too much towards any particular color or color set. I do like bright colors. I know that much though.
I know I'm in the dark, but can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
There's a great illustrator named Robert Fawcett, and he was colorblind. And one day he had his wife tell him how to color a piece he had done, like make that redder, make that bluer. And I think it won the gold medal that year at the Society of Illustrators. So listen to your wife more.
She'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Give her my number. Okay.
John, do you have a color you lean on too much when you do coloring?
I rarely do color work, as we know. I like messing with it. I just don't consider myself really professional with it. I do like to work with markers and whatnot once in a while, and I lean on gray a lot, and then kind of use that as a base, and then highlight it with different colors. Blue is my favorite color, so I always, when I do again use color, do a color piece, I try to limit the blue unless it's something I really need, because it's easy to fall into that trap. And again, not feeling I'm as proficient with color as I could be. I try to do that, contain my urges.
Those urges, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I have to abstain from something.
I've been at dinner with you.
To chime in, like when I try to do color, I always try to use the color to reflect the mood I'm trying to create. Now, Francine, when in your period in animation, did you ever do like tonal renderings for backgrounds in animation? And they usually do it all in blue or gray. Have you ever done tonal renderings?
No, not really.
In animation, they would always, to figure out lighting, they would always get us to do tonal renderings in the background when we designed them. So it'd always be blue, or they'd be a blue-gray. So I decided one time to do it in red. And that was not a good idea because red is so very limiting. You can't go dark in red without all of a sudden it turns burgundy. So that basically looked like, and there was water involved. So it looked like basically they were swimming in Nestle Quick. But So there's a pointer for all of you up and coming. When you're doing tonal rendering, there's a reason why they don't do it in red. So, anyways, that's a great question there, Yasin. We're going to give you a ticket into the draw. Thank you very much.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Steve, I used to paint. You know, when you do a painting, you put a tone on the canvas to kill the white, so you can see your colors better. So a lot of people put a gray or a brown or something like that. I used to put a bright red on it, and that would help the painting to have kind of an inner glow, because the red was sort of peeking through anyway if you didn't paint too heavily.
Oh,
So,
that's cool. Is that like as an underpainting?
Yeah, I'm saying so the red would sparkle through and warm up colors, whatever. I mean, it's not right for every mood, but yeah, I used to paint with a bright red underneath. So.
In terms of the color theory, that's a good question as well. When you do the underpainting when you do the underpainting component, is that based purely on emotion for you, or is it just you just playing with color?
No, it's none of it's emotion. When you can't paint a painting when you're angry. You know, it's like you can't slap the paint down. You know,
You can. A lot of people have made millions doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And they're dead now, right? But I mean, if you're trying to do a portrait or something, I mean, you may love the person, you may love the person that you're painting, but you can't like paint with love in the brush, But it's like it depends upon how you're painting. If you're going to paint thinly and allow a lot of the underpainting to show through, then let's say if you're doing a night scene, you want to put like a ultramarine blue all over everything, and then let it go through. But there's another theory where if I'm doing a night scene, I'll paint everything in orange first as a complement and let the blue vibrate against it, so it gives more interesting passages. I mean, it's like every artist in the world has their own idiosyncratic theories, and everybody does something different. And also, in the course of a lifetime, you don't have to stick to one thing either. You can throw all that out the window and just be somebody else for the next year. Yeah.
I just love
I like the idea of paint with the red. I will try that, because I usually am the ones that start with gray.
Right.
Like, so the camera is not completely white. I just painted gray. And also when I do digital colors, I do the same. Like everything starts in gray. And we do that a lot in concept art. And I think when I'm painting with real paintings, I do the same, just because I have that in the back of my head. But I will try it with red. That sounds like cool. Like,
right. Well, the thing with the gray is you want to put a color down that if it shows through helps. The gray probably will drag things down. But if you like Vermeer, when they do analyzations of Vermeer's paintings, if there's this beautiful blue vase, they will find that version of an orange underpainting, because he wanted the two colors to vibrate. And that depends upon how thinly you paint and how much you do broken color, which will allow the other thing to come through. I did a painting once. This very prominent portrait painter went up to me and said, "How did you do that?" And I thought, shouldn't you know? And it's like I painted a green tone, and then I added red on top of it. And he said, "Why isn't that gray and muddy?" Said, because the green was dry before I put the red over it. So layers.
The one thing I love about Joe that since last C2E2, Joe talked to me about how he's intentionally trying to get mistakes, the oops, because they turn into positives. It doesn't need to be perfect. And I really love how you've embraced that basically in every aspect of the creative process.
Well, I don't mean to make a mistake, because I honestly would like to be right and get on with my day. But when something happens, the Wolverine with the red bloody arm that we have a print of,
yep,
that was a completely different picture in my head. It had nothing to do with that. I did it, and I went, "Oh, this is a total loss." And I thought, well, let me pick up a tissue, and I started to rub the color off, and I went, "Oh, that's interesting. Let's commit to that." And that's what came out. So I threw out my concept, which I think we should all have when we start, right? You should know what you want to get, and then let the improv happen. Go, oh, it's like singers like Sia say, "I don't know what I'm going to write." Somebody just, it happens, and I start channeling, and if you get past the point of just being rigid, let your art tell you what it wants to do. Sienkiewicz and I talk about that, for instance. So.
Well, let's open up to everybody else to see. Does anybody else have a story where they had a concept and what they originally had in mind in terms of the thumbnail completely deviated itself to the final product?
Probably all have.
Give me a story.
Thinking about it. Well, that Han Solo piece I want to do. I'm trying to think.
No, nobody. I think I just broke everybody's hard drive. All right, let's go back to the questions. I shouldn't be asking the questions. I should be letting the people.
I like the idea that what you were saying, that like about like, I don't know if everybody when they start they have that concept done, because in my case, I find out that I paint way faster in digitally, and so what I do is I do like a quick digital sketch of what I would like to get when I paint it, and it's never super similar because it's a different medium, but at least I get my foundations there, and I know like, oh, this is gonna be the darker part, this is gonna be the lighter part. At least I get that, like the base of the colors. But in my case, I do like a very quick sketch of this is what I want to get with my paintings, and then when I start painting, I try to keep it very similar, but it's never the same.
Yeah.
So,
Well, just look at the piece behind you, Francine. The Planet Comics, Planet Comics piece. If you look at your initial concept to the finished product, there is a big jump, not in terms of the composition, because you basically kept it very consistent with the original. But if you look at it in terms of the story you were trying to tell and the evolution of color, and you were trying a new medium, you were trying to transition from a digital process to a more traditional process, a tactile process.
yeah.
That in itself is a story.
No, but if you remember, like when I handed you basically the sketch of what I want to do with the light, it was there. I already have like what, like everything was gonna be very dark around here, and the main light was gonna be like that gunshot thing. And I think I have that there since the color sketch and the digital part. But the rest is true. Like it's a whole journey from what I did to that. And I remember like when I show you the black and white version that I paint with watches, you were like, oh, is this that is? And I was like, wait for it. I'm gonna put color digital. I'm gonna put color digital because I already knew in my head kind of what I want to do with the colors. But yeah, like the original. I think the original is not that dark, but it also have like some hints. Like I don't know.
No, but it evolved to a great piece. Like you just kept pushing and pushing. Jamie, same thing for you. If you look at your best-selling villains line, which you're knocking out like we've got it down in terms of the formula and what we're trying to achieve in terms of the base, and we're allowing it to pivot. We literally tripped and fell into the concept. Originally, that Skeletor didn't have a He-Man in it at all.
Yeah, that's true. Originally, I just wanted to do like a villains line of just like iconic villains from like pop culture and inspired by my childhood a lot though. But it just kept, even as I was drawing it, I just kept thinking, God, this is missing something. It doesn't feel right. It feels weird. And then just like talking it over and thinking about it super hard and everything, it's like, a lot of times when I draw something, I try to think of what have I not seen before, or what have I not, what is something that I can't just go on Google and find in a Google search,
Mm-hmm.
I want to draw something a little more original. So the whole He-Man toy breaking thing came about, and now honestly, when I look at that Skeletor piece, I can't even imagine it without it. It feels wrong to not have it in there. Seriously.
And even on the evolution, if you look at the cadence of each one that you've done, there's a very serious there's a repetition in terms of the narrative in the piece until you get to the shredder. And the shredder, whether you did it intentionally or not, As soon as you throw that pizza on his helmet, you know what I mean? It changes the dynamic of the narrative and adds a moment of levity. And it opened a whole other door as you look at the Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And what other ideas you have coming down the pipe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just interesting to think that like a little thing like adding that tiny touch of storytelling to the Shredder piece just like evolved the whole thing to now I feel like I can do a lot more with what's coming up in the future versus just, hey, I'm a bad guy and I'm breaking something. So
and John, jumping up to you in terms of your Daredevil piece, the one thing that was really cool about it is as you were drawing it, I don't know, talk to me about, did you start with the idea that you wanted the famous faces in the background similar to that Superman?
Absolutely. Because that's unfortunately that's become kind of, it's a trope now when you have something like that ever since Superman Muhammad Ali, and everybody wants to do it. I mean, Adams has spoofed it himself again with that couple other things he's done. And a couple of years ago, I was supposed to be doing the cover of a wrestling comic. And it's not happening, but it was not going to be a wraparound cover. And I was really rallying heavily for that to be a wraparound. It was supposed to be the Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk empty arena match from '81, the anniversary of which was, I think, yesterday or the day before. For those of you who haven't seen it, they did a match with just two guys and a commentator in this ring. Empty building, Mid-South Arena or Mid-South Coliseum, where the Andy Kaufman thing happened. And it was on a Saturday morning they taped it. Nobody there, And it was really, it's legendary now. It's a tape trader's dream. And I wanted to do that because that was actually the match I was supposed to base this cover on. And I said, this is great. We'll do the empty arena wrapped around with just, because there's once in a while, there's a guy that would wander into the shot in the background with like a broom, working the arena on Saturday morning. I'll have him in the back, and maybe a exact, regimented chairs, dozens and dozens of them, and maybe one with a tear in it or a popcorn box on it or something. And of course it didn't happen. But so yeah, originally that was my concept to throw some famous faces in. And I just come off doing a commission for a guy, a wrestling piece where he wanted it was set in the 30s. He wanted all famous people in the audience from the 30s or who could have been like Eastwood as a cowboy. He wanted Trump in there. I wouldn't do that. We have to have some standards, but so I wanted to continue with that, and that's why in the Daredevil piece there's, there's Hulk Hogan, unfortunately, and Ric Flair, and my boy Harley Race, and China, and people whom you might see at a big fight at the Garden.
What was the point of having an empty stadium?
It was to build up interest for the one guy's return. It was the guy his name is Terry Funk. He's been in a bunch of Stallone movies and whatnot. He used to be world champion. And he booked it himself. They wanted to build for a return match with Jerry Lawler. They had done pretty much everything in the arena for, I think, a month straight. They'd fought and fought and fought. So Funk volunteered to do this, call Lawler out. Lawler shows up. They fight. They brutalize each other. Funk starts screaming, "I almost lost my eye." He goes to Japan for a few weeks, allegedly hurt, and then comes back for revenge. It didn't do the business that they had hoped for because you don't want the bad guy to be getting revenge. You want the face, the good guy, to be getting revenge. Mm-hmm. But it's become legendary, and it's sold tons of bootlegs.
Wrestling isn't real?
Actually, it's the only sport that is, believe it or not. But that was the concept, and it's been a legendary thing on tape and disc and whatnot since. It's on YouTube. It's pretty cool.
Did the guy get a career after that, or did it not happen?
Terry always had a career after that. That's around the time he started doing movies, I think, wasn't it? No, he'd already been in Paradise Alley, but was
he the big guy, the star in Paradise Alley?
No, he was Frankie the Thumper. Well, he was the villain at the end, Frankie the Thumper.
Oh, okay.
And he was in Roadhouse and Over the Top, and he's been in commercials, and okay. I mean, he was world champion in '75, and he's still going today.
Sounds like a great idea because it makes people hungry. Like, wait a second, I wasn't there. Nobody got to see it. I better buy that tape. Sounds great.
Kayfabe is alive and well for Joe.
Kayfabe. I always say my wife keeps kosher, I keep kayfabe.
All right, Mustafa. Archie Asner asks, "Hey everyone, aloha from South Florida. So, what beside the obvious inspired any of you to do what you are doing now?"
What's the obvious?
I don't know. First,
I was about to
Mustafa,
ask
what is the obvious, and then pivot.
the obvious. Oh man, the obvious. The obvious was watching like those old Adam West Batman shows. I think that's the obvious to me. But no, I don't know. Just seeing that there was these characters out there, and then finding out that there were comic books, and that it's drawn by people and not machines or something that a lot of people think of. And when you find out who the artists are and you can follow them and you can see like, oh man, this issue is going to be great because this artist is working on it. You know, that's what inspired me. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but
Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb, right, John?
yeah, exactly. Even with bat shark repellent.
How about you, John? What inspires you?
What inspired me to do what I'm doing now, to be a fingerprint examiner?
There you go.
Poverty. The need for benefits. Basically, what inspired me to get involved with art was the exact same thing, the Batman TV show and all that, and finding out, hey, there are these books, and then finding out there are people that do these. And when I was probably 9 or 10, my mother worked for a woman who was married to the guy who did Hong Kong Phooey. He did not only the comic, and he did Blondie and Dagwood, but he had done some storyboards for the show, the animated show. And we used to go to their house every summer for a barbecue. And they lived probably about an hour and a half from here up north. And they had a farm and they had horses and a pool and all that. I didn't care about that. I had seen his studio and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And he knew, even though he was working for Charlton, which wasn't Marvel or DC, he had played golf with Gil Kane. He knew this one, he knew that one. And he started telling me war stories. And I just thought that was the greatest thing. And
Gil Kane cheated. Okay.
I'm sure he did.
Okay.
But maybe Paul did too. I don't know. But it was just, that inspired me. This is what I want. I want to have this. I want to have, my studio on the back of my house looking out on the pool while the kids are out in the yard or on horseback. And of course, we don't have that. We have a dog.
Amy, what inspires you, buddy?
Oh man. Well, a lot of things. I mean, like the people around me, like just listening to John talk about wrestling. Oh my gosh, like about Terry Funk. I remember I was a huge ECW fan, and I was watching like Terry Funk just get into those matches with Sabu and Rob Van Dam and all these other guys. And I mean, like it's weird. Like I'll just watch something or see something or hear something, and I just pops into my head. That's why, like, somebody asked me at a show, like, what inspires you? I'm like, inspiration's everywhere, dude. I mean, you just gotta look for it. Just be open-minded, look for it, and something will just pop in your head. I mean, that's the best answer I can give. Everywhere.
Francine, can you be a little bit more focused than everywhere?
Yeah, okay, over here. Okay. I don't know what is the obvious. I have no idea what the obvious is.
Money?
I would say Joe is going to say money.
Oh.
You always say that.
None of that in comics.
But I don't know if it's money, because everybody, when you said that you want to do art, they told you there is no money on art. So that's what I wouldn't say money. But yeah, probably the obvious is like you want to draw comics because you were a fan of comics or something like that. But I guess if that is the obvious, that is exactly what inspired me. I wanted to create stuff that I see on TV or in comics, and I thought I knew that people were doing that, and I was like, oh, I think I would like to do that. And at the moment, there were not so many women doing it, so I always thought like, oh, even when they said this is not a women business, I want to do it, and I love that there are so many women out there doing this, and yeah.
Joe, what inspires you, buddy?
Francine told me it was money.
All right, we're done. Let's go on to the next question.
By the way,
Sorry, Joe.
I think of John as a machine. So, well, I mean, I don't know what I really hope that I would wake up this morning and have to do a Spider-Man sketch card. See, this keeps me going. Okay. I don't know what inspiration means in this context. I know that why I wanted to do it was because it seemed magical when I was a child, and when I would watch, like, you'd see a cartoonist or an artist on TV or something. It's just like, how do you do that? That's unbelievable. And it's the only thing I could do, I guess. And you know, the sight of a great painting in a museum. You know, I think this might be a question for all the artists. When you're a kid and there's all this magic, and how do you do that? And that's incredible, and I want to do that. And as you get more skilled, is the magic gone? Do you look at that and go, yeah, I know how to do that. Oh yeah, I could do that. Or is it conversely, oh my God, I still can't do that. As good and accomplished as I've gotten, there's that thing like, I'll never do that. I mean, I'm good, but Jesus, you know? So it's like, it takes away the magic and the mystery, but it also gives you more respect for the still, you know, I'm like good with a brush, but I look at the way Dick Giordano used the brush and I go, I can't do that. I mean, I've been trying for 40 years and Dick still uses a brush like no other human being ever did. So it impresses me even more on that level. So
I think what happens now is maybe there's less magical moments, but when they do happen, they're even more impactful. Like, man, that guy's good. Man, how do they do that? Wow, that's amazing.
When I used to go into the office and look through, you know, piles of art that were laying on editors' desks or whatnot, yeah, you'd look at it and go, okay, this is how he did this. This is how he did that. And then once in a while you would see, wow, how did he do this? It was usually like an inking flourish or something like that. Still inspired me. The other thing was, did everybody here ever see the film The Hand, Oliver Stone's first horror movie?
Sure.
When it opens, the guy's inking a page with a brush, and it was Barry Windsor Smith. That was his hand.
Right.
And I'm watching that thing on HBO one night out of nowhere, thinking, it's going to be a throwaway movie, and it starts with the classical music playing and him inking, and I'm like, wow, that is gorgeous. Because at that point, I hadn't really tried inking with a brush very much. I was a pen guy, brushes just for big areas. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. That can be done. Now I got to try that. And it got me to take that chance. And then, of course, I'm watching the end of the movie and it says, you know, Barry Windsor Smith. I was like, oh my God, I was right. But I think, yeah, sometimes other people's stuff inspires us too. Hey, I could do that, or I want to do that, or can I do that, or I can do better than that.
Well, and you brought up another one. It's like, what made him think to do that? Like, that's another driver as well. Because it's like, you know, like we're talking about all these stories of what we're doing is like, oh, I didn't even, like Jamie's like, I didn't even think about putting the toy in that hand, or Francine in terms of color choices. Like, I didn't even think of doing, like Joe just basically inspired Fran to try that red underpainting. So it's like stuff like that's inspiration right there. It's like, how is the sausage made? Just peels back that layer of mystery. But as you get into it and do it, your own journey propels you on what happens next. Cool. All right. Thanks for the question. Was that Archie? I think that was Archie. Archie, ticket for you. Let's move down. My lovely wife would like you guys to know that Iron Man looks good without the mask too. There you go.
Well, he had the mask on in Iron Man 1 and all the ads because they were like, Robert Downey Jr., who, what, whatever. And after that, mask off.
You want to hear the story of how Iron Man got a nose for a while?
Yeah. I always wondered about that.
Stan was just looking through an issue of Iron Man, and he went, I wonder, he probably could use a nose, maybe. And it's like the editor, put a nose on him, stop everything, put a nose on him. And then they put the nose on him. And a couple of months later, Stan's looking at it going, whose idea was that stupid nose?
But meanwhile, the first Iron Man action figure came about in that period, so he had the nose. The Mego figure had a nose.
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we all laughed about that as kids in our leather jackets in Hell's Kitchen.
Brendan says Josie and the Pussycats was an awful movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
So Luke has a question. He says, is there anything you just refuse to draw?
Nazi pedophilia. I'll do Nazis. I'll do pedophilia, but not
But
together.
not together.
Together.
You won't do it.
No, I have my standards. Okay.
All right,
Well,
so the bar has been set.
Can I just say it's about inspiration connecting with this question? I was hired to do a dummy comic book for the TV show Queer as Folk, and while I happen to be a heterosexual, I was hired to draw some really explicit gay stuff going on, and then it was put on a website, and all the explicit stuff was edited out, and I wondered, who did I do this for? The art director? So,
Point and Skill Fire Department instruction manual. Oh, was that out loud?
All right. All right, John, what do you refuse to draw?
Pretty much what Joe said. Stuff like anything, I mean, I'm pretty open-minded, obviously, but anything that was involving children or some stuff like that, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't, obviously. Anything that I deem offensive has got to be pretty bad. So, but yeah, I know. But a funny thing is, a few years ago, I was drawing a World War II story, and there was a last-minute page that had Hitler. Now with even more Hitler, and I had all this reference laying around in my studio. My wife came home, walked in, and went, "What the hell is this?" My wife is Jewish, and she was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, I'm not making them a good guy. They're the bad guys. They get theirs in the end. Believe me. But yeah, so stuff like that. Anything with kids or somebody really being maimed or sexual depravity, of a level. I mean, up to a certain point, But
Mustafa?
yeah.
Mustafa?
Well, I can't imagine a scenario where those things will be requested, because if they're requested, they got their own artists for that stuff. They're not going to get guys like us, But no, I haven't had any crazy. I mean, I have crazy requests. I just charge more. That's it.
Right.
Nancy Reagan and Frank Gorshin's Riddler outfit.
Sure, I'll charge more.
A friend of mine actually had that.
Yeah.
I actually, at the first con I ever did, I had my, she was 6 years old at the time sitting beside me, and the guy comes up to me and asks me to do a naked Harley Quinn doing vicarious things to her baseball bat. And I'm looking at the guy, and I was like, in my head, I'm having this fight because I'm like, all right, this is my first request. I haven't had any, but my daughter's sitting right there. So he kept walking. Jamie, you refuse to draw anything?
Oh man, basically anything goes against my moral compass.
Your
And
moral
I try to
compass is
stay away
broken.
from anything too political.
Now, for me, that leaves it wide open.
Yeah.
How about you, Francine? Is there we've kind of run the
Well,
gambit here.
I don't know. Like, I guess they haven't asked me for anything yet that I haven't said no, but I haven't had many weird requests.
All right, Joe, here's your opportunity to get Fran to say no to you. She's never said no to anybody. What's her request?
What?
What do you want to have a video date next week? Okay. Once
Do you hear the part when he was saying Joey request?
I'm being very restrained today. People brought up Hitler. I didn't say a word. I didn't know a word. A presidential library called me up once to do artwork for them. A president I didn't vote for. And I said, all right, I hate this guy. I'm going to charge double. I hate this guy. I'm going to charge triple. And then when I wrote out the invoice for the possible project, I asked for quadruple because I didn't want to do it anyway. And then they said, yeah, okay.
Yep. That's it.
I thought of it as reparations, getting money back from those people.
That's
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, good question. We're going to add that into oh, my wife wants me to behave. Sorry, babe.
Then why would she have married you?
Thank you.
Don't give her any opportunity to second guess. Basil has a question for you specifically, Jamie. Are you planning to come up with more villain concepts or heroes?
Oh yeah, yeah. The villains are gonna run for at least a year. Heroes, mulling that over right now.
That
Mulling
one's
that over.
the heroes are going to be hard to do because, as I said when John sent me a sketch of Han Solo and Chewie having at it with a Lando action figure, Han wouldn't do that. He's too cool. So it's hard to, because the reason why the villains work is because the context of the frustration of always losing. So it'd be interesting. Like I don't understand. I don't have it figured how the heroes would work in the same context.
Yeah.
Anybody watching the new Superman Lois series?
Oh no.
Is it any good? Obviously not. Nobody's watched it. Have you watched it?
No. It's fine. It's fine. It's not stupid. Check it out. See what you think. I wonder what you think about who really looks like Superman of the whole crowd of people who've done it. You know, like does Henry Cavill really look like Superman more than Chris Reeves?
Nope. I think Christopher Reeve just set the
Yeah.
He was
He
it.
just made it so
It's too
well.
good.
Now the guy that's Superman on this new show, I what's his name? Is it Tyler something?
Or something.
Okay. Just the shots I've seen him, he looks okay. Except one thing I keep noticing, and I can't not see it. It looks like he always needs a shave
Yeah, he's got stubble. Exactly. Yeah,
constantly.
he's more of
But
a
it's not
Batman
like
than
he
a
just,
Superman.
yeah, but it's not like the Miami Vice thing. It's like he just, I don't know. There's just you can't look away from it. You
I
can't.
thought the same thing.
Who's the best Lois? Because I don't think Amy
No.
Adams looks like Lois at all.
No.
So who's the best Lois?
For me, Terry Hatcher.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, Terry Hatcher.
Because they're real and they're spectacular.
And you knew they were real because they weren't that big. Bernstein, cover your ears.
No, but seriously, I like.
About Dana Delaney.
I'm the only one to have that natural hair, so I need to cover my ears.
I'm
Actually,
so
you're the
glad
only one
you
here that had your
highlighted
ears
that.
actually
I
covered.
really am. You know, Francine, I don't know about animation, but there's a term in comic books that John will probably agree with. If you took all the comic book artists and laid them end to end, it'd be the first time for most of them. So,
Yes.
okay. So thank you for bringing that difference up for those of us who
Boom,
don't know
boom.
what-
Try the veal.
Yeah. Okay. The veal never did anything to you. Jesus.
Like I liked Margaret Kidder. I thought she did a great
Margot,
Lois. Yeah, Margot Kidder. And she's Canadian.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
and-
counts.
And about 4 years before she was in this first Superman movie, she was in an episode of one of my favorite shows, Banachek, which
Oh,
probably
yeah?
most of you don't remember. And when he approached, it was George Papard, pre-A team, and he steps up to her. She's asleep on a chaise lounge at a pool, and he because he wants to interview her about this theft, and he speaks to her in that George Papard voice, and she goes, "Oh, I don't want to open my eyes because your voice is so gorgeous, you know, you can't match the voice." And she opened, "Oh my God, you're going to, what's your name?" He goes, "Banachek." "Banachek? What Banachek?" "Just Banachek." One name, like Superman, and it's just weird because it's years before she was in that, you know.
Well, there's a old movie where Nimoy plays an alien in it, and you know, look what happens.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I totally forgot that.
Of the three, I would say Margot Kidder.
Oh yeah.
What about Dana Delaney?
Of
Yeah,
those
Dana
three,
Delaney.
Where she did the voice, right?
Yeah, she was in the.
Mark Hamill did the voice of the Joker, and Mark Hamill is the Joker.
Yeah.
Actually,
No,
you know,
Dana Delaney's got her character down. Yeah,
and what everybody's forgetting is,
but she looks like her too.
Phyllis Coates looked great.
Phyllis Coates was awesome.
She was a great Lois. She
She
looked more like Lois. Actually, Noel Nell looked more like Lois is drawn by like Wayne Boring.
Yeah.
And the other one looked more like Kurt Swan. Have you ever seen people who you say, "Oh, he's drawn by Gil Kane. He's drawn by Jack Kirby." Like they look like somebody, a particular artist did that design. Like a
I
guy
have seen
who's-
people that look like Barry Windsor Smith characters. Yeah.
And
Peter
if there's a
David
guy
used to say, "I'm
Yeah,
sorry."
and if there's a guy walking with big feet where the feet flap, he looks like a Don Martin. You know? or sometimes you see somebody just kind of hairy and weird, and he looks. There's a cartoonist from New York called Corin where everything's these little hatchy lines and stuff, and you think they're like flies flying off of them. So
Peter
All right,
David used to tell Mike Zeck that Bruce Willis was drawn by him in Die Hard.
Oh,
I can
that's a
see
good
it.
one. That's a good one.
Well, it's like, of course, Neil Adams said, "Oh, I think I was drawn by Alex Toth," because Neil, of course, would pick the best artist to draw him. So.
All right, we're going to do a reset. It's 4:00. We got a half hour left in the show. Welcome, everybody, to MBartist Alley Live. Stephen Ohola here with the creators of MBartist. We're going to, we are, oh, look at that. Eric's ahead in the game. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube and on the Collector's Toy Shop. So just a reminder, we have featured art prints available. So we're going to walk through them one by one. We've got New Mutants by Bob McLeod.
Whatever happened to him?
That's a good question. He said he was going to drop in today. He's probably waiting for you to sign off.
I know. I'm gone. Let's fake him out. let's get him in, and then I'll come back.
I thought maybe I went too far with my comedy stuff and offended him.
They cannot get together. It's too much powerful in the same chat.
We've got Chad Harden's Hellbringers. We've got Francine Delgado's Spider-Gwen team up with Miss America and Nova. We've got Jamie Coker's Villains Mumra. We've got James C. Mulligan's Higitus Figitus. We've got Joe Rubinstein's Bizarro. What's the story on this painting, Mr. Rubinstein?
I was in a mood that day. This is another accidental painting because I tried an experiment by putting all that purple red crap down, and then I did something on top of it and it was a failure. A minute and a half I knew it was a failure and I put it away, and then I looked at it and went, maybe, and then I went back and that's what happened. So
Mustafa marveled at the fact that you signed it backwards.
Yes, it seems right, don't you think?
No, it was great. Nice touch.
Seems the way to go. So
I just love the expression. All right, and then next we've got John Hebert's Uncanny X-Men recreation of 126. We've got Mustafa Musa's Captain Marvel. And My Beauty and the Beast. So, guys, those are our featured art prints for this week. There's 3 ways you can get them. Number 1, ask a question. You could win one of these at the end of the show. Number 2, put in I want that one in the comments, and the lovely Jamie will take care of you. Number 3, you go to MBartist.com. You can fill your boots with any one of these, whether it's fine art, platinum, or canvas, and you will get free shipping. So that's the 3 ways you can get our featured art prints for this week. So we got some catching up to do, guys. We got some questions here to go through. Brandon Halpern wants to ask, best comic storyline ever. Mustafa.
Well, the thing that I keep returning to every few years is Dark Knight Returns. Like it's just so good. If somebody's like just starting out in comics or something, if they want to read something that's just very accessible, that built an entire movie franchise, read Ultimates Volume 1, because that's a great starter.
John.
Hart Rogers Batman run. I love that. Or just a couple issues, but the Doug Mensch, Bill Sienkiewicz Hatchet Man run on Moon Knight. I just love that. It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie on paper.
Jamie.
The Long Halloween Batman. Love that one.
Fran.
Got the Watchmen one. I really like the Watchmen. I know that is a self-contained story.
That was my answer.
I changed my answer.
Because it's great. See, great minds think alike.
Right, yeah.
So I guess it does count, and it counts triple.
Right. It was Watchmen. Watchmen was the only series I ever read where I would buy issue 6, read it, and then go back and read issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to see all the stuff that was planted.
I did the same thing.
Right. And when I read issue 1, I went, oh no, it's going to take 12 months for this because it was so great. But the other thing that was coming on simultaneously, beautiful art, wonderful story, was Moonshadow by DeMatteis and Jay Muth. It's Moonshadow, an adult fairy tale, I think it was called. It's a wonderful series. I'm sorry nobody ever made it into animated movie or something, but those are the two that come to mind.
For me, as a kid, I loved Secret Wars. I thought that was awesome, fun.
You're
as a
weird.
Kid. And then thank you. And then I fell out of comic books. I discovered this thing called Girls, and I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere while I still did comic books.
Tell me about Girls.
Isn't that? Yeah, tell him because
Tell
he's
me more
got to
about
get laid
You're
in.
asking the wrong person, Fran.
Yeah,
Representative right here.
don't we? Isn't there a guy on the panel right now? And I can't remember which one of us it is, but somebody here did some pages on Secret Wars. Let's see, who could it be? Who could it be?
Who could it be? You wanted me to sign your issue?
Ooh, who it is?
Well, we don't want you to sign your issues. We don't. It's only an hour and a half show.
I did a little ghosting on the first series. I worked on the last number 12, and then I did some works on the second series, helping out Aloha.
He did the page where Cap's shield is healed, where Cap's holding the shield out and it comes back into one piece.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yep.
Yep, that was me.
He used his power of thought.
I'm the zealot of Marvel Comics in the 80s. I was everywhere.
I fell out of comics for about 4 or 5 years, and the story that got me back into it that really blew my mind at the time was Alex Ross's Kingdom Come. I love that story.
Yes,
that was a great.
No, nobody asked, but here I'm finished with this, so I can get on to something else now. Oh, and Francina, I used the purple on the blue. So
see, you have Spider-Man with purple.
Right.
There you go. All right, great question, Brendan. You get a ticket. Frank says, hi from Germany. If you have to portray an iconic sports or sports entertainment moment, which one would it be?
Ooh.
Mustafa.
Well, I mean, when I think of iconic sports moment and I think visuals, like he's not my favorite basketball player, but Jordan, slam dunking from the free throw line. I mean, no matter how many times you see it, like to do that would be amazing, I think.
John.
Probably that empty arena wrestling match that we discussed. Or one of the Dusty Rhodes Harley Race bloodbaths from Florida or someplace.
Jamie.
Rock Hogan WrestleMania. Probably that'd be the one.
Ooh, Toronto. That was a great one. Do you think that if they had that match anywhere else, it would have had the same response?
No. It had to be then. It had to be there. It had to be. That was amazing. When you make the decision to change the whole formula of the match in the moment because the crowd is, cheering for the bad guy. I mean, only wrestling could do that. Change the whole emotion and the drama just like that.
And that's the original. That's the original art of it. So they would read it on the fly and take it up. Even in Backlund's book, he talks about that.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, your voice is so thick. How big are your balls? Jesus.
Show him.
Is there a reason you wear that hat every time?
Oh no, not really.
Okay. Ooh, nice voice. Okay.
So, anyways, the cool thing about that is they should have known that was going to happen because the last time they had WrestleMania in Toronto Skydome was the Ultimate Warrior Hogan match, and the same thing happened there where they did expect Warrior to win, but they didn't expect that the crowd would boo Hogan in that one.
That was an awful match, but it was an awful matchup. But Hogan actually carried the Warrior. He showed he could carry him to a decent match because the Warrior couldn't work a lick.
Shortest match ever: Ultimate Warrior versus Goldberg. No, Francine.
You know what the worst match was I ever saw? Believe it or not, Bob Backlund and Jesse Ventura in the Garden. Ventura was the worst worker in the world. Even Backlund couldn't carry him to a decent match. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
Consistently, he was never any good. No.
Nope.
Okay.
They usually stuck him in tag teams until that point, so the other guy would carry him.
He had a great body. I guess he didn't care.
Francine.
Okay, because I just finished watching The Last Dance, I will think also in Michael Jordan, but because my Latin American heritage, soccer, dude, that's the game that we watch there. Okay, they watch there all the time. I never watch soccer, and I would say Maradona soccer. I would draw a Maradona. It's an Argentinian soccer player. Super. He just died, but he was super famous. Pelé or Maradona.
Joe, do you have a sports moment you would love to draw?
I'm like a veal. I've never left this room. I don't know what sports are. To keep the theme going, mankind being hit by a real metal chair.
Ooh.
Filled with barbed wire and thumbtacks.
Suddenly I made Hebert's day.
You know, mankind bounced off me at an outdoor show in Orange County one time. I wasn't paying attention, and he came over the top rail. And granted, he's well over 300 pounds and 6'4". And I wasn't looking, and my buddy went, "John, look out!" And I looked up, and here was this mass in the sky coming at me. He hit me, bounced off me, and I was still standing there, and he was laying in the mud. And afterwards, when we were backstage, he came back and just slapped me on the back. So that's respect.
Yeah, that's nice of him.
All right, so we got 15 minutes left, and we got to catch up here. So I'm going to do some questions, and we're going to rip right through this. Oh, I lost my spot. Sorry, guys. So, Frank, thank you. That gets you a ticket. Ariel says we're always learning as artists. Thanks for stopping by again, Ariel. How was the show last week, Mustafa?
So it was Easter weekend, so there wasn't quite the turnout that you would hope, but I think because the previous shows that we've been doing have been so great that it was like, oh, this is how it should be. Is a bit more tame for a comic store. But it was still great. It was still worthwhile. It had a lot of fun.
Luke Holbrook asks, who helped you the most to get you where you are today? John?
By me no matter what, and she had a tough life, and she was the Iron Lady. She's my hero. And as far as directly in comics, Zach.
Right.
Francine?
Well, that was an amazing answer. So, who helped me today the most? I'm very grateful to a lot of my friends that they have been for me, and it's not only like one person. I have to say just thank you to several different friends that on the way have give me advices or take time just to teach me how to do something, or just encourage me to keep going. And yeah, I also would say the first time that I told my parents I want to do this, they were not horrible like other parents that tell you you're gonna die of starvation. They were very supportive, so I also appreciate that.
Joe?
Dick Giordano, who would stop whatever he was doing and show me something if I had a question, and was a very kind influence in the studio in comparison to the other guy.
Who would that have been, Joe?
The other guy.
The other.
America's favorite game show host?
Bob Barker?
Yes, that son of a bitch, Bob Barker.
$1, Bob.
He makes at night. He has puppies with butter sauce. The man is a phony. I'm telling you right now.
Oh God!
I worked at Neil Adams and Dick Giordano's studio, and consequently, I ran into Wally Wood and Russ Heath and Barry Windsor Smith and Jeff Jones and all those nice guys, and some not so nice guys who are still writing comic books today.
Oh boy!
We got to follow that one up, Mustafa.
Oh, all right. Well, so I mean, I was pretty much self-taught, so not that realm, but my dad, he gave me some good advice because starting out, I was sending my stuff out to everybody, and I wasn't necessarily getting work, and so I was like, yeah, I should just work at Blockbuster or something, whatever was around back then, right? And he's like, okay, so you're going to do that and you're going to be good at it. And then you're going to become a manager. And then you're doing that for 30 years. That's what you want to do with your life? And I'm like, well, no. I was like, what do you want to do? I want to be a comic artist. What do you need? Well, I need, art table. I need paper. I need pens. I need all these things. And he's like, okay, let's go get it. And so went and got it. And then he's like, what else you need? He's like, I need a plane ticket to San Diego. I need to go to Comic-Con.
And back then you could just fly out and just show up, you didn't have to get in a waiting list or whatever. And so I did. And my mom, she went with me. She stayed in line when there's like the Marvel line was 6 hours long. She'd stay in that line while I go to talk to Dark Horse or talk to whoever else. And I got, 4 jobs that first show when I was 18 or whatever. And so, I talked to my dad again. I was like, Dad, they're not really paying a whole lot. He's like, okay, so just do them all. I was like, well, I mean, that's a lot of work. He's like, yeah, you're young. I was like, that's okay. Yeah. All right. So when I see people who are like, I don't know how I'm able to do this. I'm already doing this thing. I'm like, just do it. What's wrong with you? Just do it. You want to do it or do you want to do something else in life? So my parents.
Yeah.
Let's hear it for parents, guys. Let's hear it for parents.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Jamie, cut that one. I know you can.
I have to go down to 3 people: my mom, my brother, my wife. My mom encouraged me from a young age, and even when we were homeless for a while, she would find like paper and pen for me to draw on. Even when we had nothing else, we didn't have anything to eat. She would find something for me to draw on just because I wanted to draw. My brother, he encouraged me when I was older. He's like, you have this talent. You've been sitting on it forever. Dude, just get it done. So he encouraged me to go to school, and I got my master's. He encouraged me to do the art thing. So I finally just stopped being afraid and just got into it, man, and just went full steam ahead, no fear. And then my wife, she's my inspiration, my partner, my antagonist at times, but at the same time, she pushes me to be better. She makes me a better person. I don't know. Couldn't do it without her.
Let's hear it for family. There you go. I think
My wife too, but I got one more I gotta acknowledge, that Steve, because I was just about done just goofing around with shows, and now he's dragged me back in kicking and screaming.
Yay, for Steven.
You son of a bitch.
They got him to blame for me being here, gang.
That's why I love you. He keeps me humble.
Hard to be humble when you're around Rube.
John, dude, when I met you in Albany, man, I was looking beside and I just saw what you did, man. And you told me your story and I'm like, why? And we're going to get you on the road, man. People are going to find out John Hebert's got the skills. All right.
Are they marketable?
He's marketable. We're going to make it happen. All right. It's 4:22. I got 3 minutes before the draw, so I got to do some running down here. Brandon Halpin says, we know John won't do Trump. Ariel Diaz comments off of an earlier question. How about furry art? So apparently Ariel will not do furry art.
No, she has, and maybe I have to.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much money they pay you for.
So I didn't know what it was. It was an OC, an original character, and I said, sure, why not? And then I realized afterward, like, did I just do furry art?
What does that mean?
It's really hairy, like Wolverine.
There are these people that get into people dressed in furry animal costumes more than
the conventions were all dressed like
yeah. And there's a particular person in Syracuse that's really into that. And one day, and I'm not sure if she was legitimately a she or a he. We never found out.
Right.
But had me do the character. But then one day, when he or she came back to get the drawing, she was completely dressed as Sarah Palin.
Oh,
a very good Sarah Palin too, if you will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just the whole thing was.
Why didn't you have sex with her just to teach her a lesson?
That would teach somebody a lesson, but yeah, my wife was with me at the time.
All
right, we're catching up. Lisa says, "What about Noelle Neal, Lois opposite George Reeve?"
Yes,
red hair.
She's the Wayne Boring version.
The red hair always bothered me.
TV.
Brendan asks, is there any source material, movie, TV show, or novel you would like to turn into a graphic novel? Hint, hint, The Departed. I know John's. We're going to go real quick on this one. John.
No, Francine's.
Richard Hooker's MASH and A Feast Unknown by Philip Jose Farmer.
Francine.
Leon the Professional, but I keep saying this, so Someday, maybe, guys.
We're gonna put it out in the universe. It's gonna happen.
Yes,
There you go.
I
Luke
may have
Wesson,
a
are you
prior
listening?
interest.
Joe.
No, but no, but Herb Trimpe was a lay minister, and he flew into 9/11 for several months to talk to people after it, and I wanted him to make that into a graphic novel. So
Herb was a great guy.
Mustafa.
Yeah, professional. I wanted to see
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
The Further
let's do
Adventures
that.
of Matilda.
Let's
oh,
do
I
it.
meant the professional. That's what I meant. Yeah.
There you go. Jamie.
Okay.
The only thing I can think of, I don't really have a great answer, but the only thing I can think of is when I was younger, there was a movie I was obsessed with called Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington, Matthew Broderick, called Glory. Love that movie. I've always loved that movie. That's
That's
one
a great
movie
movie.
that comes to mind anyway.
Yeah.
JP Wallace wants to know, how long does it normally take for prints to ship? Usually it's ready at the door when you pay for the shipping, JP. And depending on where you are, it can take anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks. So I hope that helps you out. Mario says hello. Brendan says, Seamus took out Santino with one big boot. I have no idea what that means.
What did you
Seamus and Santino Marella.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. A lot of Germany.
Thank the Lord for
Okay.
you guys here.
All right, we're all caught up. All right, let's do the draw. Let's do the draw. We've gone through all the questions. Let's do the draw. Eric, can you throw up the set of 9 prints and let's see who we've got. Do we have a winner? Winner, chicken dinner. We're gonna frolic them around, and one jumped out, so we'll take that one. All right, and the Oscar goes to Frank
The winner.
Scallick. Are you here, Frank?
Oh, I
Frank.
always ask questions, so I hope he's around.
Frank Scallick. Okay, guys, this is how it's going to work. If you're not here, I'm going to keep drawing names till someone gets here. First one to say I win, I win. We're only doing one. I can't be given 5 or 6. Jamie says, no, you cannot. Frank, are you here? Anybody see Frank?
There's a delay.
There's a delay. There's a delay. There's a delay. Oh, Brendan's back.
He's there. Frank said there.
Yeah. All right, let's do another one.
No, Frank said sure.
Yeah,
there
there
he
is.
Way to go, Frank. Which one do you want, Frank?
Yay.
You owe Mustafa now.
Congratulations, Frank. Pick your print, and Jamie will take care of you.
Oh, well.
All right, guys. So before we leave, I want to share some original art because it seems that whenever I share original art, I start getting some DMs after the fact. So I got a stack here. I'm going to run through them. I want everybody knows. Let's run through real quick. Mustafa, when's your next show?
TBD. There's a couple things out there, but it's still COVID time, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Hey, he picked mine. Cool.
He picked Captain Marvel. Jamie, I know you've got a slew of shows coming.
Oh yeah, this weekend I'm at the East Town Mall, Madison, Wisconsin. After that, I'm Fargo, and then after that in Minot. So yeah,
Minot, why not?
the shows. Yeah.
So if there's anybody in that area, go get your villains quick because they're running out. So I could let you guys know I've got some dates here of shows MBartist is going to be at. We're going to be in Boston August 6th to the 9th. We're going to be in Orlando for MegaCon August 12th to the 15th. 2 weeks later, we're going to be in Florida still at West Palm Beach for UltraCon the 28th and 29th. Dallas, we will be there September 17th and 19th. And if the Canadians can get their act in order, we'll be in Edmonton October 1st to 3rd. So those are actual dates. And we're also working on, with Reed Pop, on New York, Miami, Seattle, and C2E2. So let's hope that we can put COVID as far in the rearview mirror as possible. And we're going to do some shows. All right, show and tell time. So, guys, I'm going to show you some.
I need to go, guys. Ciao.
Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next week. Okay, so we're going to show them real quick. I'm going to start with some Joe Rubenstein art. We've got a Lion-O.
I know. What about the Thundercat?
Feel free to DM me. We've got Mumra. We got a Chitara. We got a Zartan.
Oh, that's great.
We've got Panthro. I always like doing this line. We've got a retro turtle that got caught on the can. We've got the retro turtle that caught him on the can. We have a modern Mikey. And I don't know why this one's still here. Look at the Skeletor. Very cool. We also got some James C. Mulligan. Look at this. We got a baby Yoda with a Chicago Cubs jersey. Headless Horseman action. There you go. Doctor Strange. All right, what else do I got in here? Joe, I love this piece, man. And I know you do too. Check that out. Degas. What else can I show? I got some Heart and Love. What else do I got here? Francine, who just left. There's her Phantom Lady. So if you guys see anything that you like there, John Hebert, Phantom Lady. Jamie Coker, Phantom Lady. So we've got all of the originals from Phantom Lady, and we'll end it off on this one. Love that one. John Hebert, his Millennium Falcon Ode to Fantastic Four 220. So there's some original art, guys. If you see anything, Joe left. I guess he didn't like his art. If you guys see anything you like there, feel free to DM me and we'll take care of you. So, guys, I want to thank you very much for stopping by. Thanks to Joe Rubenstein and Francine Delgado for stopping by. And until next week, guys, have fun. And we'll see you Friday for the Lost Toy Box auction at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night.